conversation so far. And I just want to ask a very straightforward question, which is, how do you actually implement the life agenda? How do you actually engage people to get them to partake? And then a sort of second part to that question, how does it fit into the bigger climate agenda that India is pushing?
I think partly it was mentioned, repeated persuasion, repeated speaking about, and speaking about issues which you think are commonplace, but repeated speaking by people who hold positions, by people who are responsible, by people who can really catch eyeballs. That's where, and that is why I think most advertising campaigns for very mundane things catch hold of top icons to support the idea. That's the principle. You need to have more people talking about it, more influential talking about it, more influential people talking about it, and it should almost, it's not a good word to use, but cult-like conduct is required, because today climate is now hitting us from various different angles, hitting us in everyday life. Since you asked me a question, if you were indulgent enough, I can take 2 more minutes to answer this question. During the pandemic, the conduct which was required till you got a vaccine, until such a time you didn't know how to handle it effectively, public support was literally mobilized. Why did in India, for instance, people all came together to light a lamp at a particular time? Because the Prime Minister asked. Or why in Italy, and this I've seen in newspapers, anyone can please correct me, people were standing out in their balconies and probably playing their music or singing a song all at a particular time. These are public ways of showing that we're all together for a common cause. And that cause needs to be reiterated every now and then. And when Prime Minister Modi is speaking about it, he's not talking off the cuff. He's somebody who actually picked up on these issues when he was a chief minister of a province. And one particular very useful example, very, very important example, the state in which he was the state, meaning the province in which he was the chief minister, elected chief minister, is literally on the Tropic of Capricorn, a dry state which doesn't receive much rainfall, but when it receives, it is scattered and it doesn't get accumulated into some reservoir or anything like that. And the crops that were grown there also depended on water coming from somewhere else. The water table was going down. The chief minister at that time, and now our prime minister, went village by village, telling the farmers, please don't use bores. You know, in India we have a bore well, where every individual who's got a 5 cent of a land can literally bring in some equipments and drill water going down to 300, 400 feet, in some places 800 feet, and expect water to be brought up by force, use electricity for that, and for him, he would have access for water. But the neighbor would be depleted. Even that little bit of water he had, he wouldn't have it anymore. So this had to have collective coming together at the ground level. No law brought by the state could have been effective. He moved from village to village, campaigning with people to say, please, for collective good and for restoring the water table, we need to do it for the state. And would you believe it? It succeeded. And even today, Gujarat benefits from it. So this approach that the life mission that we're talking about, as opposed to the approach some governments would say, instruct people, ask them to follow, and therefore it will get implemented. His approach and the life approach that we're talking about is only when you have at the ground level individuals contributing with conviction that this is being done for all of us, you can succeed, and succeed for something in which, I'll end with this, Mahatma Gandhi, I think, had said, look, we have inherited the world from our forefathers, but don't forget you've borrowed it from your children. So you have to give it back to them the way you have been given what you got. You can't leave the place worse off.